Read People Like a Book by Patrick King. Have you ever wished you could see right through people, not in a creepy, manipulative way, but to truly understand what's going on behind the words they say and the masks they wear? Imagine being able to detect dishonesty, hidden emotions, secret desires, or stress just by reading their behavior. Now, I want you to think back to a time when someone said, "I'm fine," but you knew they weren't. Or when you entered a room and instantly felt tension in the air. That wasn't magic. That was your mind picking up on human cues you didn't even know how to interpret. That's exactly what this video is about. We're diving into Read People Like a Book by Patrick King, a practical and powerful guide to mastering the art of behavior analysis, emotional intelligence, and deep human understanding. Patrick King is a social interaction specialist and former corporate attorney who's written extensively about communication, psychology, and influence. In this book, he teaches you how to read people with clarity and confidence. And trust me, once you finish watching this video, you won't look at people the same way again. You'll notice things you've always missed. You'll listen to what people don't say. And most importantly, you'll begin to understand yourself better too. So buckle up, because we're about to unlock the hidden code behind every human interaction. Part 1. The Power of Perception. Let's start with a foundational truth. Most people don't see the world as it is. They see the world as they are. That means when you interpret someone's behavior, you're often not seeing them. You're seeing your assumptions about them. Patrick King begins his book by challenging this illusion. He explains that the first step in reading people effectively is detaching from your own narratives. You need to step out of your own head and into the shoes of the other person, or at least try. That's empathy, and it's where true perception starts. We live in a world overflowing with information, yet most of what truly matters in communication is nonverbal, nuanced, and beneath the surface. If you want to truly understand people, you need to master perception. And mastering perception means upgrading your ability to observe, interpret, and remain neutral. Here's a key truth Patrick emphasizes. Behavior is not random. Everything people do, from the way they speak to how they fidget, is data. And that data, when collected and interpreted correctly, gives you insight into the thoughts, emotions, and intentions behind it. Let's break this down with a simple example. You see someone fidgeting during a conversation. The amateur mind labels that as nervous. The expert mind sees it as a clue, one piece of a larger puzzle. Are they fidgeting consistently? Only when you talk about a certain topic. Only in groups? The more data points you gather, the clearer the picture becomes. King challenges us to become behavioral detectives. He says to treat every gesture, glance, hesitation, or change in tone like a piece of evidence. This doesn't mean you become paranoid or obsessed. It means you become more aware. True perception is about removing ego from observation. The moment you say, "I know why they did that," without full context, you close the door to discovery. But if you say, "That's interesting. I wonder what's driving that behavior," you stay open. And staying open is where all the growth and insight happens. King also warns against letting your emotions cloud your perception. Ever noticed how when you're angry or anxious, everyone seems more hostile? That's not reality. That's your internal state distorting your external view. That's why one of the most life-changing takeaways from this book is learning to separate what you feel from what they are expressing. This is especially powerful in emotionally charged situations like arguments, negotiations, or conflict resolution. So how can we sharpen our perception muscle? Here are 5 transformative practices. 1. Observation without interpretation. When you notice a behavior, describe what you see instead of labeling it. Instead of, "He's anxious," say, "He's biting his lip and tapping his fingers." 2. Context is king. Always analyze behavior in context. The same gesture can mean wildly different things in different scenarios. Crossing arms at a funeral? Comfort. Crossing arms in a debate? Defensiveness. Same action, different intention. 3. Pattern recognition. One-off behavior can be misleading. Look for repeated signals over time. Does the person always avoid eye contact or just in certain situations? 4. Calibrate to baselines. Get to know how someone behaves when they're relaxed. That becomes your baseline. Any deviation from that baseline becomes noteworthy. 5. Mindful detachment. Practice observing people without needing to fix, judge, or change them. Just witness. Curiosity is your greatest asset here. This chapter in King's book also explains how culture, personality, and past experiences influence perception. A reserved person from a conservative background might seem cold to someone from a highly expressive culture. But that's a misperception, not a fact. It's a reminder that perception is personal. And if you want to read people accurately, you must learn to customize your interpretation. That means asking deeper questions like, what does this gesture mean to them? What might they be trying to protect or hide? What am I projecting onto this interaction? Another important point, perception is a feedback loop. How you perceive people affects how you treat them, which in turn affects how they respond to you. If you misread someone as hostile, you may act defensively, prompting a hostile response that wasn't there in the first place. Patrick King encourages us to treat perception like a science. Gather evidence, test hypotheses, remain open to being wrong, because humility is the secret weapon of the best people readers. They don't assume, they investigate. When you apply this kind of thoughtful perception to your daily life, everything shifts. Relationships become richer, conflicts become clearer, and your ability to connect with others in business, love, family, and friendship skyrockets. So remember, to see others clearly, you must first clear your lens. That means removing ego, emotion, and assumption from your field of vision. King says it beautifully. The world opens up when you stop needing to be right and start wanting to understand. This section is just the foundation. In the next part of the video, we're going deeper into the practical mechanics of behavior analysis. We'll learn how to decode microexpressions, tone shifts, and behavioral inconsistencies. If this first piece has already opened your eyes, get ready, because it only gets better from here. Part 2, the foundation, behavior analysis. In our quest to understand human behavior, we must begin by mastering the art of behavior analysis. Whether we realize it or not, our actions are constantly sending signals to others about our emotions, thoughts, and motivations. Often, the most telling insights into a person's true feelings are not what they say, but what they do. This is the foundation of behavior analysis, understanding that behavior speaks louder than words. How to observe behavior with precision. Observing behavior with precision is about becoming hyper-aware of the subtle cues that indicate a person's emotional state, intentions, and motivations. This skill requires practice and an open mind, as human behavior can often be ambiguous, layered, and complex. However, once you know what to look for, you can decode even the most subtle signals. When observing behavior, it's important to focus on more than just body language, gestures, posture, facial expressions, and tone of voice. Though these are crucial, you must also pay attention to timing, frequency, and context. For example, if someone speaks rapidly or fidgets while discussing a particular subject, it may indicate anxiety or discomfort. Similarly, a person's tone of voice, whether it's calm or tense, can reveal how they truly feel about a situation. In essence, precision in observation is about developing a keen awareness of the tiny, often overlook details that give away a person's underlying emotional state or intentions. Behavioral breadcrumbs, Patrick King's concept. One of the core concepts introduced by Patrick King in his exploration of behavior analysis is the idea of behavioral breadcrumbs. These are small, often unnoticed behaviors or actions that, when pieced together, reveal a larger picture of a person's emotional or psychological state. A behavioral breadcrumb might be something as simple as a fleeting glance, a nervous laugh, or the way someone shifts their weight during a conversation. Alone, these breadcrumbs might not tell you much, but by observing patterns over time, they begin to form a narrative. For example, if someone consistently avoids eye contact when discussing personal topics, it might indicate discomfort or dishonesty. When combined with other subtle behaviors, like a clenched jaw or stiff posture, you begin to build a clearer picture of their emotional state. Behavioral breadcrumbs are often unnoticed by the individual displaying them, which is what makes them so valuable in behavior analysis. They offer insight into a person's true feelings or intentions, even when they might not be consciously aware of it themselves. How to gather and decode patterns of action. Gathering and decoding patterns of action is the essence of behavior analysis. Humans are creatures of habit, and much of our behavior follows recognizable patterns. These patterns often reveal a great deal about our thoughts, beliefs, and desires. When analyzing behavior, it's important to take a holistic approach. Rather than focusing on one isolated action or phrase, look for recurring themes or behaviors. For example, if someone consistently avoids discussing a certain topic or becomes defensive when asked about a particular issue, these repeated actions can provide important insight into their feelings about that issue. Start by observing the frequency, consistency, and intensity of actions. A person who is constantly fidgeting during conversations may be signaling anxiety, while someone who frequently crosses their arms may be displaying closed-off or defensive body language. By observing these actions over time, you can begin to recognize recurring patterns that point to deeper psychological motivations. Decoding these patterns requires patience and an understanding of context. For example, a person may act more withdrawn in one-on-one conversations, but more animated in group settings. This shift in behavior can be linked to different personality traits or emotional needs. A person who thrives in social situations may feel more comfortable expressing themselves in a group, while someone with social anxiety may feel overwhelmed and retreat inwardly when alone with others. Context versus content. Why behavior matters more than words. The old adage, actions speak louder than words, is especially true when it comes to behavior analysis. While words are important, they can be misleading or deceptive. People may say one thing, but their behavior often tells a completely different story. This is why it is critical to focus on context rather than just content. Take the example of someone telling you, "I'm fine," when in reality, they are far from fine. If their shoulders are drooping, their eyes are avoiding yours, and their voice is flat or shaky, their body is reading from a different script than their mouth. This is an example of the disconnection between verbal content and nonverbal context. The key here is to remember that context, the overall behavior, emotional tone, and body language, is often more telling than the content of the words. The content can be a conscious choice, whether to lie, protect oneself, or keep up appearances. But behavior as a reflection of emotions is often more honest and revealing. Context versus content is about understanding that while someone's words may be carefully crafted, their behavior often betrays their true emotional state. The more you become attuned to these subtle discrepancies, the better you'll be at discerning what's really going on beneath the surface. Practical, how to start noticing patterns in your daily interactions. Now that you understand the theory behind behavior analysis, it's time to start putting it into practice. Here's how you can begin noticing patterns in your daily interactions. 1. Start with awareness. Begin by being mindful of your surroundings. Pay attention to the people around you and their actions. Try to focus on their body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice. Notice any subtle changes in their behavior, like a shift in posture, a pause before speaking, or a change in eye contact that might indicate something beyond what they are saying. 2. Observe repeated behaviors. As you observe others, try to notice recurring patterns. Are they always defensive when discussing their personal life? Do they seem uncomfortable when talking about a particular topic? Start building mental notes of these patterns and reflect on what they might mean. 3. Contextualize the behavior. Always consider the context in which the behavior occurs. People behave differently depending on their environment, the situation, and the individuals they are interacting with. Look for behaviors that are consistent across various contexts. If someone's body language is consistently closed off, even when they are with close friends, this could indicate deeper emotional barriers. 4. Compare words and actions. Begin to compare what people say with how they behave. Does their body language align with their words? If someone says they are happy but their face shows signs of sadness or discomfort, there's likely more going on beneath the surface. Look for contradictions and use them as clues to decode their true feelings. 5. Keep a mental journal. As you practice, consider keeping a mental or written journal of the patterns you observe. This can help you track progress and refine your skills over time. With more practice, you'll begin to notice behavioral cues and patterns even faster, and your ability to decode them will become more accurate. Example: when someone tells you "I'm fine," but their shoulders droop and eyes avoid yours, their body is reading from a different script than their mouth. This is a classic example of how body language can reveal what words often mask. In this situation, the verbal content of "I'm fine" doesn't align with the physical context, suggesting that the person is likely not feeling okay. The drooping shoulders signal a lack of energy or enthusiasm, while the averted gaze points to discomfort or avoidance. By recognizing these signals, you can better understand that the person may be struggling emotionally, even if they don't openly express it. Remember, people's actions speak volumes. Once you learn to listen, the world around you will begin to make much more sense. Part 3. Body language. The unspoken language. Imagine this. You're sitting in a meeting with a colleague. They're speaking confidently, but something in the way they're shifting their feet, their clenched hands, or their lack of eye contact is giving you a sense that things aren't as smooth as they seem. You start noticing subtle signs that speak louder than the words coming out of their mouth. What do these physical cues reveal about their true feelings? How can you use body language to better understand others? Welcome to the world of body language, a realm of communication that transcends words, gestures, and expressions. In this section, we will unlock the hidden language of the body and explore how to read the unspoken signals people are sending. From detecting stress to identifying confidence and even uncovering dishonesty, understanding body language can give you an entirely new level of insight into the people you interact with. The basics of body language: open versus closed signals. Before diving into the specifics of body language, it's important to understand the concept of open versus closed signals. These terms are fundamental when interpreting what someone is feeling or thinking. Open signals. These are gestures or postures that show receptivity, trust, and engagement. For example, relaxed posture, uncrossed arms, open hands with palms facing upwards or slightly outward, direct eye contact, leaning forward when someone is speaking, unclenched hands or fingers. Open signals suggest that someone feels comfortable, confident, and engaged in the interaction. When people are at ease, they naturally open their body language to show trust, warmth, and positivity. These gestures invite connection and indicate that the person is approachable and receptive. Closed signals. On the other hand, closed signals are more reserved, defensive, or withdrawn. Examples include crossed arms or legs, hands tucked into pockets or clasped tightly, avoiding eye contact or looking downward, slouching or physically withdrawing from the conversation, fidgeting or nervous movements. Closed signals are often unconscious defenses that indicate discomfort, insecurity, or even resistance to the situation or person they're interacting with. People tend to close their body language when they feel threatened, anxious, or are trying to protect themselves emotionally or physically. Being able to differentiate between these two categories is crucial in reading others accurately. While open signals tend to suggest positive emotions or openness, closed signals can be a sign that someone is feeling uneasy, defensive, or skeptical. How to detect stress, confidence, nervousness, and dishonesty. Now that we understand open and closed body language, let's look at how you can detect specific emotional states through physical cues. Stress. Stress manifests in several ways through body language. When someone is stressed or anxious, you might notice rapid or shallow breathing, sweating or wiping the brow, tension in the face, particularly in the jaw, mouth, or around the eyes, rigid posture or avoiding physical contact, frequent fidgeting or nervous habits, like tapping fingers or bouncing legs. These signs indicate that the person is experiencing tension and unease. If you notice these signals in a conversation, it might be a sign that something is off, and they may not be feeling entirely comfortable with the situation. Confidence. Confident people exude a sense of ease and self-assurance, and their body language is often open, relaxed, and expansive. Look for straight posture and open chest, slow, deliberate movements, steady, comfortable eye contact, a calm and composed demeanor, relaxed hands and arms, often placed loosely by their side or gesturing naturally. When someone is confident, their body language will reflect their inner belief in themselves and the situation. They'll take up space, move with purpose, and generally maintain a relaxed yet assertive demeanor. Nervousness. When someone is nervous, their body often betrays their emotions, even if they're trying to hide it. Common physical cues include shifting weight or fidgeting, playing with hair, tapping feet, etc., clenched fists or a tense grip on objects like a pen or phone, avoiding eye contact or looking down, frequent throat clearing or swallowing, shaky or jittery hands or legs. Nervousness is often the result of being in a high-pressure situation or facing an unknown outcome. People who are nervous tend to exhibit physical signs of discomfort or anxiety, which is their body's natural response to stress. Dishonesty. Identifying dishonesty through body language is tricky, but there are certain cues that might suggest someone is not being truthful. These include inconsistent facial expressions, e.g., a smile that doesn't reach the eyes, avoiding direct eye contact or excessive blinking, touching the face, throat, or mouth. This is often an unconscious attempt to block the truth. Incongruence between what is said and the body language. For example, saying, "I'm fine," while their body is tense or closed off. Overcompensating gestures, like excessively gesturing to seem more convincing. Dishonesty often triggers subconscious physical responses as the person tries to mask or conceal their emotions. While these cues can be indicative of deception, it's important to look for clusters of signs and consider the context before making a judgment. The truth behind microexpressions and subtle cues. Now let's talk about microexpressions, the fleeting, involuntary facial expressions that can reveal someone's true feelings in a fraction of a second. Microexpressions last only a fraction of a second, but are packed with emotional information. Recognizing them can give you deeper insights into someone's emotional state. Microexpressions are linked to 7 universal emotions: happiness, sadness, anger, surprise, fear, disgust, and contempt. Here's what you might observe in someone's face during these moments. Happiness. A genuine smile involves the eyes, not just the mouth. Look for crow's feet at the corners of the eyes. Sadness. Drooping eyelids, downward corners of the mouth, and a lack of energy or expression. Anger. Furrowed brows, tight lips, and nostrils flaring. Surprise, raised eyebrows, wide open eyes, and a slightly open mouth. Fear. Eyes wide, eyebrows raised, and tense mouth. Disgust. Wrinkling the nose and raised upper lip. Contempt. One side of the mouth lifting in a half smile, often seen as a smirk. Microexpressions reveal what someone is truly feeling, even if they try to mask their emotions with their words. It's important to recognize these subtle cues in order to respond with empathy and understanding. How to combine body language with behavioral patterns. To truly read people like a book, you need to combine body language with behavioral patterns. Behavior analysis involves observing how people move, interact, and respond over time. When you understand their baseline behavior, you can better interpret deviations and clusters of body language signals. For instance, if someone usually maintains steady eye contact but suddenly avoids it when discussing a particular topic, it could signal discomfort or defensiveness. Similarly, if a normally confident person starts fidgeting or crossing their arms during a certain conversation, it could indicate that they are nervous or trying to hide something. By observing repeated patterns and comparing them to someone's baseline behavior, you can start to piece together a more accurate understanding of their emotional state, intentions, and possible motivations. Practical tips. What to watch in the eyes, hands, feet. Now let's focus on the most important areas of the body to observe: the eyes, hands, and feet. These areas often provide the clearest signals of how someone feels. Eyes. The eyes are the window to the soul, and they convey a wealth of information. Pay attention to pupil dilation. Dilated pupils often indicate interest, excitement, or attraction, while constricted pupils may suggest discomfort or disinterest. Eye contact. Consistent eye contact can indicate confidence and honesty, while avoiding eye contact may suggest nervousness or dishonesty. Blinking rate. Rapid blinking can indicate stress or anxiety, while slow blinking suggests relaxation and calmness. Hands. The hands are one of the most expressive parts of the body. Watch for gesturing. Open, expressive hand gestures generally indicate openness and confidence, while tightly clasped hands or hidden hands may indicate nervousness or guardedness. Fidgeting. If someone is constantly moving their hands or playing with objects, it could signal anxiety or discomfort. Palm gestures. Open palms show honesty and openness, while clenched fists can indicate frustration, anger, or defensiveness. Feet. Surprisingly, the feet can reveal a lot about a person's true emotions. Look for foot positioning. If someone's feet are pointed towards the door, they may be subconsciously signaling a desire to leave. On the other hand, if their feet are positioned towards you, it can indicate interest or engagement. Shifting feet. If someone constantly shifts their weight or moves their feet, it could signal nervousness or restlessness. Once you know what to look for, a whole new world opens up. You no longer hear what people say, you hear what they mean. Body language, when understood and interpreted correctly, can reveal the deeper emotional truths that people might not express in words. By becoming more aware of these silent signals, you gain the ability to connect with others on a deeper level and make better decisions in your interactions. Part 4. Emotional intelligence and empathy. Imagine you're sitting in a conversation with someone, and although they are speaking calmly, you sense something deeper. Their body language reveals tension, their words feel distant, and their tone, while neutral, hints at underlying frustration. You start to understand that there's more going on beneath the surface. And that's where emotional intelligence and empathy come into play. In this section, we're going to dive into the emotional layer beneath behavior and explore how emotional intelligence and empathy can transform the way you connect with others. Recognizing emotional motivations, practicing non-judgmental observation, and building empathy are the keys to truly understanding people. And the best part? These skills can be your superpowers, giving you insight into the hidden world of emotions and connections. The emotional layer beneath behavior. Every behavior we see on the surface is driven by an underlying emotional layer. Whether it's a quick reaction, an action that seems out of character, or a subtle gesture, these outward behaviors are often fueled by deeper emotional needs and motivations. People's actions don't happen in a vacuum. They are influenced by their feelings, past experiences, fears, and desires. Recognizing this emotional layer is the first step in understanding what truly motivates people. When you see someone being short-tempered or distant, for example, you might initially feel confused or frustrated. However, if you begin to consider the emotional factors at play, you'll realize that their behavior might stem from stress, insecurity, or past trauma rather than personal hostility. Emotional intelligence, EQ, is the ability to identify, understand, and manage emotions in yourself and others. This includes recognizing emotions in others based on their behavior and body language, and then responding appropriately. By becoming more attuned to this emotional layer, you can move beyond surface-level reactions and engage with people on a much deeper level. Recognizing emotional motivations behind actions. Emotions are often the root cause of our actions. People's behavior is a reflection of their emotional state, and by learning to recognize emotional motivations, you can better understand why people act the way they do. Here are a few common emotional drivers behind behavior. Fear. People act out of fear when they feel threatened, anxious, or uncertain about their future. For example, someone who avoids social interaction may be afraid of rejection or judgment. Similarly, defensive or aggressive behavior often stems from a fear of vulnerability or being misunderstood. Insecurity. Low self-esteem or a lack of confidence can cause people to act defensively or withdraw. They may overcompensate by being overly dominant, critical, or controlling as a way to mask their insecurity. Frustration. When people feel stuck or unable to achieve their goals, frustration can manifest in passive-aggressive behavior, irritability, or even outbursts. Recognizing frustration can help you approach the situation with more patience and understanding. Desire for connection. Many actions, both positive and negative, are driven by the desire for connection and approval. Someone who constantly seeks attention may be trying to fill an emotional void or gain validation from others. Similarly, acts of kindness often stem from the desire to build meaningful relationships. By understanding these emotional motivations, you can start to see beyond the surface behavior and connect with the deeper emotional needs that are driving it. The power of non-judgmental observation. One of the most important skills you can develop when trying to understand others is the ability to observe without judgment. It's easy to jump to conclusions when we see certain behaviors, especially when they challenge our expectations or make us uncomfortable. But when we judge others too quickly, we risk missing the underlying emotions or context that are influencing their actions. Non-judgmental observation means looking at people's behavior without labeling it as good or bad, right or wrong. Instead, it involves taking a step back and seeking to understand the root causes of their actions. When you approach someone's behavior with curiosity rather than criticism, you create space for empathy and understanding. For example, instead of thinking, "Why is this person always so negative?" you might consider, "What might be causing this person to feel negative? What's behind this attitude?" By asking these questions, you open yourself up to a more compassionate and nuanced perspective, one that takes into account the emotions, experiences, and struggles that might be influencing their behavior. Non-judgmental observation also means being aware of your own biases and assumptions. We all have preconceived notions about certain behaviors, and sometimes these can cloud our judgment. By consciously stepping away from these judgments and simply observing what's happening, you'll be able to understand people more clearly and objectively. Building empathy, the skill that makes your insights human. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, to understand and feel what they are experiencing. It's not just about recognizing their emotions or behaviors. It's about connecting with them on an emotional level and responding in a way that is supportive, compassionate, and human. Empathy goes beyond sympathy, which is feeling sorry for someone. Empathy means sharing in their emotional experience, whether it's joy, sadness, frustration, or fear. When you practice empathy, you validate the other person's emotions and you help create a safe and supportive environment where they feel understood and accepted. Building empathy requires a few key skills. Active listening, listening with full attention without interrupting or judging. This shows the other person that you are truly interested in their perspective. Emotional mirroring, reflecting back what the other person is feeling by using empathetic statements like, "I can see that you're really frustrated," or "It sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed." Understanding their perspective, trying to see the situation from their point of view. Ask yourself, what might they be feeling right now? What might they need from me in this moment? Empathy is a skill that can be learned and developed with practice. It's not just about understanding someone intellectually, it's about connecting with them emotionally and responding in a way that helps them feel heard and valued. Part 5. Lies, deception, and truth signals. We all have moments when something doesn't quite add up. A small detail seems off, a story doesn't line up, or someone's words just don't match their actions. In these moments, our ability to detect lies and deception can be the difference between protecting ourselves and being misled. But here's the catch. Detecting lies isn't about paranoia. It's about understanding the subtle signs that can help you discern truth from falsehood. In this section, we're going to explore how to detect lies without falling into the trap of constant suspicion. We'll uncover the behaviors and language that reveal deception, and we'll discuss an ethical approach to using this knowledge to protect yourself, not manipulate others. How to detect lies without being paranoid. The key to detecting lies isn't to become overly suspicious or start doubting every word someone says. That approach will leave you frustrated and exhausted. Instead, it's about developing a keen sense of observation, learning to spot subtle inconsistencies, and using your intuition alongside logical reasoning. It's important to note that not every inconsistency is a lie. People may hesitate, give incomplete answers, or make mistakes simply because they're nervous, tired, or distracted. So when you're trying to detect deception, it's crucial to balance the information you gather with an open mind. The best way to approach this is by looking for patterns over time, not single moments of suspicious behavior. You want to notice if someone's behavior consistently shifts in ways that don't align with their words or the situation. One odd behavior might not mean much, but repeated anomalies could be a red flag. Think of it like a puzzle. Lies often don't fit the full picture, but with careful observation, you can spot the missing pieces. What deception looks like in the body and language. When someone is lying, their body language often betrays them. While there's no single tell that screams liar, there are several subtle cues that may indicate deception. Here's what to watch for. 1. Inconsistent microexpressions. Our faces are hardwired to express emotions, but sometimes liars try to mask or control their reactions. Look for brief, involuntary facial expressions that don't match the story. For example, someone may smile while saying something sad, or their face may briefly show disgust when they're supposed to look calm. 2. Physical discomfort. Lying can be physically stressful. People may shift in their seat, avoid eye contact, or touch their face more frequently. They might scratch their neck, play with their hair, or cover their mouth. These movements are often unconscious attempts to relieve anxiety or hide their emotions. 3. Speech patterns. Deceptive speech tends to be less fluid. Liars may hesitate before answering, use more filler words like or give overly detailed or vague responses. They may also provide too little information or offer information that wasn't asked for in an attempt to cover up inconsistencies. 4. Incongruent body language. A person's words might not match their body language. For example, they may say they're happy but appear tense or withdrawn. Discrepancies between verbal and nonverbal signals often signal that something isn't quite right. 5. Overcompensation. When someone is lying, they often overcompensate by becoming overly animated, using more gestures, or offering excessive details. It's as if they're trying too hard to appear convincing. This can indicate anxiety or a need to sell the story. Baseline behavior, the secret to truth detection. The key to understanding when someone is lying lies in recognizing their baseline behavior. The normal, everyday patterns of behavior that reveal who they are when they're being truthful. Everyone has a baseline, a set of natural behaviors that occur when they're relaxed, calm, and telling the truth. For instance, some people are naturally expressive, while others are more reserved. Some might have a relaxed posture, while others may move their hands when speaking. The baseline behavior is important because it gives you a reference point to compare against when things start to feel off. Once you understand a person's baseline, it becomes much easier to spot deviations. If you notice that someone's actions or reactions seem unusual, it could be a sign that they're not being truthful. For example, if someone who usually makes eye contact suddenly avoids looking at you, or if they're typically calm but start fidgeting or speaking more quickly, these changes in behavior could indicate deception. Similarly, if a normally talkative person becomes overly quiet or a reserved person suddenly becomes overly animated, those shifts might signal dishonesty. The 4 signs of dishonesty according to King. Patrick King, author of Read People Like a Book, identifies 4 key signs of dishonesty. Let's break them down. 1. Over-explaining. When someone is lying, they may feel the need to justify themselves with an excessive amount of detail, often irrelevant to the conversation. They're trying to appear truthful by offering extra evidence, but it often comes across as suspicious because it feels unnecessary. 2. Tense or defensive posture. People who are lying tend to become physically tense. They may cross their arms defensively or appear rigid. This body language is a way of protecting themselves from perceived threats or discomfort. Similarly, they might become overly defensive or shut down when asked questions. 3. Contradictions in verbal and nonverbal communication. Liars often struggle to align their words with their actions. For example, they might verbally express regret or sadness, but their body language indicates discomfort or even joy. These contradictions are a clear signal that something isn't right. 4. Inconsistencies in the story. Liars often have trouble keeping their stories straight. They might forget important details, contradict themselves, or change their account over time. These inconsistencies, especially when you ask the same question at different times, are red flags that suggest dishonesty. Ethical approach. Use this to protect, not control. It's important to remember that detecting lies and deception should never be used as a tool for manipulation or control. While understanding the signs of dishonesty can be incredibly useful for protecting yourself, It's crucial to approach this knowledge ethically. The goal should not be to catch someone in a lie for the sake of humiliation or power, but to safeguard yourself in situations where deception could put you at risk. For instance, recognizing when a business partner is being dishonest about a contract or when a friend is hiding something important allows you to make informed decisions about how to proceed. When you detect deception, the best course of action is to respond with curiosity rather than confrontation. Approach the person with open-ended questions, give them space to explain, and create an environment of trust. The aim is not to expose or punish them, but to gather the information you need to make better decisions. Remember, the ability to read lies is not about exposing others. It's a light to protect yourself in a dark room. Part 6. Motivations and Personality. At the heart of human behavior lies a set of complex internal drives that shape how we think, act, and communicate with others. Whether it's fear, ego, shame, or the need for validation, these motivations play a significant role in how people present themselves in the world. By understanding the underlying forces that influence behavior, you can not only gain a deeper insight into others, but also predict how they'll respond in various situations. In this section, we'll explore these internal drives, look at how different personalities shape communication, and delve into the psychology behind why people do what they do. We'll also discuss how you can use this knowledge to better navigate the world around you. Digging into internal drives: fear, ego, need, and shame. Every decision we make, every action we take, is influenced by internal drives. These drives aren't always obvious, but they are always present, shaping the way we interact with others. Understanding these motivations helps you read people more accurately and understand the real reason behind their behavior. 1. Fear. Fear can manifest in various ways: fear of failure, fear of rejection, or fear of being judged. It can drive people to act defensively, avoid certain situations, or overcompensate in ways that feel inauthentic. For example, someone who is terrified of rejection might avoid eye contact or engage in excessive flattery to gain approval. 2. Ego. The ego is the part of us that seeks validation and recognition. It drives people to protect their self-image, sometimes at all costs. If you understand someone's ego needs, you can predict how they will behave in situations where their status, reputation, or authority is at stake. Someone with a fragile ego might become defensive or overly aggressive when challenged. 3. Need. This refers to a person's deeper desires, the need for love, approval, success, or financial stability. These needs are powerful drivers of behavior. Someone striving for success might take risks or work tirelessly, while someone seeking approval might constantly seek praise or reassurance from others. 4. Shame. Shame can be a deeply painful emotion that drives people to act in ways that protect them from feeling exposed or vulnerable. People who are motivated by shame may hide certain aspects of themselves, avoid situations that make them feel inadequate, or act in ways that appear overcompensatory. Understanding when someone is driven by shame can give you insight into why they might react defensively or shut down during conversations. How personalities influence behavior and communication. Personality plays a huge role in how we express ourselves, interact with others, and process emotions. Understanding the different personality types allows you to tailor your communication and better navigate social dynamics. 1. Introverts versus extroverts. These two personality types exhibit different behaviors when it comes to interaction and communication. Introverts tend to be more reserved and energized by solitude. They may prefer deep, meaningful conversations rather than small talk. Introverts are often more reflective and may need more time to process their thoughts before sharing them. In a social setting, Introverts might appear quiet or withdrawn, but their insights and ideas are often thoughtful and well-considered. Extroverts, on the other hand, are more outgoing and energized by social interaction. They thrive in group settings and often enjoy engaging in lively discussions. Extroverts are typically more expressive and comfortable in social situations, often seeking out new connections and experiences. Understanding whether someone is an introvert or extrovert can help you gauge their level of comfort in different settings and how best to communicate with them. For example, an introvert might prefer written communication or one-on-one conversations, while an extrovert might enjoy more dynamic group interactions. 2. The Big Five personality traits. Another way to understand personalities is by considering the Big Five personality traits: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. These traits help explain how people behave and respond to the world. Openness, creative, curious, and open to new experiences. Conscientiousness, organized, responsible, and dependable. Extroversion, sociable, energetic, and outgoing. Agreeableness, compassionate, cooperative, and empathetic. Neuroticism, anxious, moody, and emotionally sensitive. These traits influence how people communicate, how they react to stress, and how they handle relationships. Knowing these traits can help you predict someone's behavior in different situations. The psychology behind why people do what they do. Human behavior is complex, and understanding why people do what they do requires examining both psychological theories and lived experiences. Several psychological factors influence our actions. 1. Cognitive biases. Our brains are wired to take shortcuts in decision-making. These biases, such as confirmation bias, seeking information that confirms what we already believe, can drive behavior in ways that seem irrational or inconsistent. Recognizing these biases helps you understand why people make decisions that seem illogical or driven by emotions rather than facts. 2. Social influence. People are heavily influenced by social norms, expectations, and peer pressure. This can manifest in behaviors such as groupthink, where individuals go along with the majority opinion, or social conformity, where people adjust their actions to fit in with a group. By understanding these influences, you can better navigate social dynamics and anticipate how people will act in group settings. 3. Psychological needs. According to psychologist Abraham Maslow, human beings are motivated by a hierarchy of needs, ranging from basic physiological needs to self-actualization, the desire to reach one's full potential. Understanding where someone is on this hierarchy can give you insight into their behavior and motivations. For example, someone struggling to meet basic needs, such as safety or stability, may be more focused on securing their environment than pursuing personal growth. How to predict behavior based on patterns of personality. By observing someone's personality and behavioral patterns over time, you can begin to predict how they will respond in different situations. This predictive ability is powerful because it allows you to anticipate reactions, manage interactions, and navigate relationships more effectively. 1. Look for repeated behavior. Patterns in behavior are often the strongest indicator of how someone will act in the future. If someone regularly avoids confrontation, they are likely to continue avoiding conflict in the future. If someone is consistently punctual and organized, they will probably maintain those traits in other areas of their life. 2. Pay attention to emotional reactions. People's emotional responses provide key insight into their motivations. Someone who reacts with extreme anger or anxiety to minor situations may be dealing with deeper emotional triggers. On the other hand, someone who maintains a calm and measured response may be more emotionally stable and predictable. 3. Understand how stress affects personality. Stress can alter behavior significantly. An extrovert under stress may become even more talkative, while an introvert may retreat further into themselves. By understanding how personality traits shift under pressure, you can better predict how someone will react when faced with challenging situations. Part 7. How to respond. Mastering social intelligence. So you've spent time learning how to read people. You've understood their motivations, decoded their body language, and recognized the subtle cues they give off. But now you may be wondering, what do I do with this information? How can you use your newfound understanding to connect with people, build rapport, and navigate social situations more effectively? This is where social intelligence comes into play. The ability not only to understand others, but also to respond in ways that foster deeper connections. In this section, we'll explore how to master the art of responding to people based on the insights you've gained. From calibrating your words to match someone's emotional state, to using advanced techniques like tactical silence and mirroring, we'll cover everything you need to know to enhance your social interactions and become a truly magnetic presence. Once you understand people, what do you do with it? Understanding people is only the first step. The real power lies in using that understanding to influence the interaction and build stronger connections. Once you've identified someone's emotional state or motivations, it's time to calibrate your response accordingly. For example, if you recognize that someone is feeling insecure, your response should aim to make them feel more comfortable and valued. On the other hand, if you're dealing with someone who is confident and assertive, your response should match their energy, demonstrating that you're comfortable with their presence. The goal is to create an environment where the other person feels understood and respected. This helps to strengthen relationships, foster trust, and establish a deeper connection. Social intelligence isn't about manipulating others. It's about guiding the interaction in a way that makes everyone feel at ease. Calibrating your words to people's emotional states. One of the most powerful ways to respond to people is by tailoring your words to their emotional state. When you match the tone, pace, and content of your response to the emotional energy they are giving off, you create a seamless interaction that feels natural and authentic. 1. When someone is upset or angry, your response should be calm, composed, and empathetic. Avoid raising your voice or becoming defensive. Instead, acknowledge their emotions, validate their feelings, and offer solutions or comfort. For instance, you could say, "I understand why you're upset. Let's work through this together." 2. When someone is happy or excited, match their energy by showing enthusiasm and support. Share in their joy and express your excitement for them. Saying something like, "That's amazing, I'm so happy for you," can help reinforce the positive emotions and build rapport. 3. When someone is anxious or uncertain, offer reassurance and encouragement. Use calm and reassuring language to help them feel safe and supported. For example, "I know this is a big decision, but I believe in your ability to handle it," can provide them with the confidence they need. By recognizing and responding to someone's emotional state, you create a connection that makes them feel heard and understood. This simple technique can drastically improve your social interactions and make you more approachable. How to become magnetic through understanding. Magnetism isn't about being loud, flashy, or over the top. It's about creating a genuine connection with others. When you understand people on a deep level, you naturally become more magnetic because you make them feel valued and seen. 1. Show genuine interest. Ask questions that show you care about their thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Listening actively and asking follow-up questions demonstrates that you are present in the conversation and genuinely interested in what they have to say. 2. Be empathetic. Empathy is the key to making people feel understood. When you mirror someone's emotions, thoughts, or experiences, they feel a sense of connection with you. This can be as simple as acknowledging their struggle or celebrating their success with them. 3. Be authentic. People are drawn to those who are authentic and comfortable in their own skin. By being true to yourself, you create an atmosphere where others feel safe to be themselves as well. This openness fosters trust and a deeper connection. When you consistently use these principles to guide your interactions, you'll find that people are naturally drawn to you, creating stronger relationships and a more influential presence in both your personal and professional life. The art of tactical silence, mirroring, and pacing. Mastering social intelligence also involves understanding when to speak and when to remain silent, as well as using advanced techniques like mirroring and pacing to build rapport. 1. Tactical silence. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do in a conversation is to stay silent. Pausing before responding shows that you are thoughtfully considering the other person's words and allows space for reflection. Silence can also create a sense of anticipation and draw people in, making them more likely to open up and share more deeply. 2. Mirroring. Mirroring is the technique of subtly imitating the other person's behavior, body language, and speech patterns. This creates a sense of rapport and makes the other person feel more comfortable and connected to you. For example, if someone is sitting with their arms crossed, you might casually cross your arms too, but not in a way that feels forced or obvious. If they speak slowly, you can match their pace. This unconscious imitation builds trust and signals that you're on the same wavelength. 3. Pacing. Pacing is similar to mirroring, but it focuses more on matching the other person's rhythm and emotional tone rather than their physical movements. If someone is speaking quickly, you can match their speed. If they are more measured and deliberate in their speech, slow your response to match. Pacing also works with emotions. If someone is calm, maintaining a relaxed demeanor will help them feel more at ease. If they are anxious, offering a sense of calm through your words and body language can help diffuse tension. These techniques may seem subtle, but they can have a profound impact on your ability to connect with others. When used appropriately, they create a smooth, harmonious interaction that helps you build trust and rapport with ease. Using this skill to build trust, lead, or diffuse tension, the ultimate goal of mastering social intelligence is to use it to influence situations positively. Whether you're trying to build trust, lead a team, or diffuse tension, understanding how to respond to people is key. 1. Building trust. People trust those who understand them and respond to their needs. By using empathy, mirroring, and calibrating your words to match their emotional state, you show others that you genuinely care about their well-being. Trust builds naturally when people feel understood. 2. Leading. Effective leaders know how to respond to their team's emotional states. By recognizing when someone is overwhelmed and offering support, or when they are excited and amplifying their energy, you can motivate and inspire others. Being attuned to your team's needs makes you a more effective and respected leader. 3. Diffusing tension. In conflict situations, understanding social cues and knowing how to respond appropriately is crucial. By staying calm, using tactical silence, and validating the other person's feelings, you can de-escalate tense situations and find common ground. Social intelligence isn't just understanding others, it's helping them feel understood. In the end, it's not just about reading the room or decoding body language. It's about creating an environment where others feel heard, valued, and respected. By mastering the art of responding to people with empathy, authenticity, and understanding, you become a powerful force in building deeper, more meaningful connections that leave a lasting impact. In the next section, we'll look at how to use these skills to lead conversations and influence outcomes. ensuring that your social intelligence works in your favor wherever you go. Part 9. Practical applications in daily life. Mastering the art of reading people is not just a skill for the occasional use. It's a life-changing tool that can transform every interaction, relationship, and experience you have. Whether in your career, friendships, or romantic life, understanding the subtle cues people give off allows you to communicate more effectively, resolve conflicts more smoothly, and deepen your connections with others. In this section, we'll explore how social intelligence and emotional insight can be practically applied to various aspects of your life and how to start integrating these skills into your daily routine. How this skill transforms relationships. One of the most significant ways reading people impacts your life is by transforming your relationships. Whether you're trying to strengthen bonds with family members, navigate the complexities of romantic partnerships, or develop professional relationships, this skill allows you to engage more deeply with others. 1. Improved communication. When you can identify someone's emotions or motivations, you tailor your responses to better align with what they need. This creates smoother, more open conversations and reduces misunderstandings. 2. Deeper connection. People naturally gravitate toward those who make them feel heard and understood. By picking up on emotional signals and responding empathetically, you foster stronger, more authentic relationships where both parties feel valued. 3. Conflict resolution. Emotional intelligence helps you navigate difficult conversations with grace. By understanding the emotional states of those involved, you can de-escalate tension, show empathy, and work toward a mutually beneficial solution. Understanding people isn't just about knowing how to read their signals. It's about using that knowledge to engage with them in a way that brings out the best in your relationship. Real-world applications. Career, dating, friendships, leadership. 1. Career. In the workplace, reading people can make you a more effective communicator, negotiator, and leader. Whether you're dealing with clients, colleagues, or supervisors, understanding their emotional cues allows you to tailor your approach for optimal results. In meetings, by observing body language and energy levels, you can adjust the tone of your contributions. If someone looks stressed or disengaged, you may soften your approach, making sure they feel heard before presenting your ideas. Networking. When meeting new people, you can instantly gauge their level of interest and comfort, adjusting your pitch accordingly to keep them engaged. Leadership. As a leader, emotional intelligence helps you manage your team more effectively by understanding their individual motivations and challenges. You can provide support when needed and push for results when the time is right. Second, dating. When it comes to romantic relationships, reading people's emotional and behavioral signals allows you to build trust and deepen your connection more quickly. You can pick up on the subtle signs of interest, discomfort, or hesitation and adjust your approach accordingly. This creates a space where both individuals feel safe to express their true selves and where the relationship can flourish naturally. 3. Friendships. In friendships, emotional intelligence helps you be more present and supportive. By understanding what your friends are going through, whether they're excited, upset, or stressed, you can offer the right kind of support, whether that's by listening, offering advice, or simply being there. 4. Leadership. For leaders, understanding the people around you is essential for motivating, guiding, and supporting your team. Social intelligence helps you recognize when a team member is struggling, when they need encouragement, or when they require a bit of space. This leads to more efficient, collaborative, and harmonious work environments. The ripple effect of being emotionally intelligent. The beauty of emotional intelligence is that its effects ripple outward. When you understand people and respond appropriately, you not only improve your personal relationships, but you also influence the people around you in a positive way. Here's how. 1. Positive influence. Your ability to understand and respond empathetically makes others feel more comfortable and open. This leads to a more positive and collaborative atmosphere, whether at work, in friendships, or in family dynamics. 2. Greater trust. People trust those who seem to understand them. This trust is the foundation of strong personal and professional networks. As you build trust with others, they're more likely to share ideas, offer help, and support you in return. 3. Social harmony. Your emotional intelligence helps create an environment of understanding and respect. When people feel seen and heard, they are more likely to reciprocate the same level of respect and consideration, fostering a harmonious social environment. Start small. Daily observation exercises. The key to mastering emotional intelligence and reading people is practice. Here are some small daily exercises to get you started. 1. Observe body language. Throughout your day, take note of the body language of the people around you. What do their gestures, posture, and facial expressions tell you? Try to observe how different emotions manifest physically. 2. Active listening. Practice truly listening when others speak. Pay attention not only to their words, but to their tone of voice, pace of speech, and body language. Are they speaking quickly because they're excited, or slowly because they're unsure? 3. Mirror emotions. Experiment with matching someone else's emotional energy without mimicking them too overtly. If someone is energetic and upbeat, try to mirror that enthusiasm. If they are calm, match that energy. Notice how this makes the conversation feel smoother and more connected. 4. Use empathy. Whenever possible, put yourself in someone else's shoes. When they express frustration, imagine what might be causing that emotion and try to respond in a way that shows you understand. By incorporating these simple exercises into your daily life, you'll gradually build your emotional intelligence and improve your ability to read and respond to people effectively. Read people like a book, not to judge them, but to love them better, lead them better, and protect your peace. In the end, mastering the art of reading people isn't about gaining power over others. It's about understanding them more deeply so you can respond with kindness, empathy, and wisdom. By using this skill to navigate the complexities of life, you'll strengthen your relationships, enrich your connections, and become a more insightful, emotionally intelligent person. Every interaction is an opportunity to grow, connect, and make a positive impact. So start today and watch as your world transforms. Throughout this journey, we've covered the essential skills and insights needed to become a true observer and analyzer of human behavior. From recognizing body language to understanding emotions, detecting lies, and mastering social intelligence, you now possess the tools to decode the subtle signals that shape our interactions. Recap of the transformation from observer to analyzer. The transformation we've explored throughout this series is one from being a passive observer to becoming an active analyzer of the world around you. In the past, you may have noticed people's actions, but you might not have understood the deeper motivations behind them. Now you have the skills to analyze not just what people do, but why they do it. You've learned how to identify the emotional and psychological cues that influence behavior. You know how to read body language, the open and closed signals, microexpressions, and subtle cues, all of which provide a deeper layer of insight into the person in front of you. You can now detect stress, nervousness, or even confidence, and you understand the powerful role that empathy plays in connecting with others on a human level. This shift in perspective isn't just about being more perceptive. It's about becoming a more compassionate and effective communicator. You are now equipped to navigate relationships, resolve conflicts, and lead others with a deeper understanding of their emotions and motivations. How life changes when you understand others clearly. Imagine a life where you can walk into any room, any conversation, and understand the emotional state of those around you. You can gauge when someone needs support, when they're excited about something, or when they're hiding something. This kind of awareness gives you a unique edge in both your personal and professional life. 1. In relationships. Your relationships will flourish because you now understand the emotions and motivations behind others' actions. You won't just react to what people say. You'll be able to respond in a way that is thoughtful, empathetic, and effective. 2. In leadership. As a leader, your ability to read the room and understand the needs of your team will make you an inspiring and trusted figure. You'll know when to encourage, when to step back, and when to intervene. 3. In personal growth. As you continue to develop your emotional intelligence, you'll also deepen your understanding of yourself. The more you reflect on your observations and reactions to others, the more you'll learn about your own emotional triggers and patterns. This self-awareness is the key to continuous growth. When you understand others clearly, you build stronger connections, foster mutual respect, and create a more harmonious and fulfilling life. Now it's time to put these insights into practice. The best way to truly master the skill of reading people is by constantly observing, reflecting, and engaging with those around you. Practice. In your daily interactions, take a moment to observe the people around you, their body language, facial expressions, tone of voice. Pay attention to how they communicate beyond words. The more you practice, the sharper your skills will become. Reflect. After each interaction, take a few minutes to reflect. What emotional signals did you pick up on? What did you learn about the other person's motivations? How did your understanding of their emotions change the way you communicated with them? Journal. Keep a journal of your observations. Write down what you noticed in different interactions, how you responded, and what the outcomes were. This will help you track your progress and refine your ability to read people more accurately over time. As you reflect and practice, you'll notice how these insights begin to shape your relationships and your understanding of the world around you. We'd love to hear your thoughts, insights, and experiences. How have you started applying these skills in your own life? What moments have you noticed where reading people made a significant difference in your interactions? Share your experiences and leave a comment below.